Many of you know that I grew up a Christian nationalist. I grew up a far right winger. It's been decades since that's been the case, but that is my past. So I have a kinship, or I had a kinship with far right Christian nationalist provocateurs like the guy I'm going to talk about today, Joel Webbon. Joel Webbon, say his last name. And I want to ask this. I want to throw this out to the audience. I want to ask you this question: Is when did the Republican Party go from the party of being skeptical of the government, skeptical of leaders, worried about overreach? These people who fly their Gadsden flags, don't tread on me. People who don't want vaccine mandates, who don't want to get the jab to protect other people during a global pandemic where millions of people are dying. Over 1 million right here in the United States. When did the Republican Party go from being skeptical of government to wanting to have the boot of the government on their neck? When did that happen? Because that's where we are. For all of wanting to be a martyr within Christianity, especially far right circles of Christianity, we sure do have a group of people who want that boot on their neck, who yearn to be dominated by a dictator type. And that's what's happening in this first clip. I have 2 clips of this Joel Webbon character. In this clip, he's saying that Americans are degenerates. And the Constitution, because of that, doesn't work. And what we need is a Caesar-like figure to rule with an iron fist. Not democratic rule, not self-governance. No. We need someone to tell us how to be, how to act, because morality apparently has fallen. Now, we'll get to it a little bit, but I want to say, when he talks about morality, he's talking about an obsession with who people marry, with an obsession about how people identify as themselves. He's not talking about supporting a man who is an adjudicated sexual predator. He's not talking about that. That's moral for this guy. So I just wanted to bear down on what is and what is not morality in this guy's worldview. Let's get to the clip and then we'll talk about it and move on to the second.
We're degenerates. We're not even close to, we're degenerates. The Constitution is not suited for governing degenerates. For governing degenerates, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, if you agree, disagree. But I think for our population that is degraded morally and culturally, and religiously, as far as we have, you need power. Men must be governed. you need a Caesar type, Now, if you're asking me my preference, that would probably be my preference, would be a constitutional republic. But I think the conditions for that is a moral people. So I think you can work towards that in the future. But I don't think constitutioning even harder is going to get us out of our current mess. I don't see us getting out of this apart from things getting worse and worse, and then eventually, like a Caesar type rising through the ranks, a populist, figure, and the people, the political will, the people are desperate, and they're like, yes, do it, so and then so and so. Constitution be damned, just rules with an iron fist, and like a Cromwell type, and then you hopefully don't get his son. Maybe then you're able, and then you maybe it's just a one generation, one guy kind of thing, and then you have to move back to aristocracy or some other form.
Men must be governed, says Joel Webbon, who's doing his best Matt Walsh impression here. Men must be governed because we are degenerates. It's always the white dude who makes arguments like this, knowing that this country has never stepped on the neck of the white man ever. He says these things knowing the person who will bear the brunt of this iron fist rule are people of color, are women, are LGBTQ folks. Those are the people who will be ruled with an iron fist because of their degeneracy. Not him. He'll be in the ruling class. He'll be a commander in this version of Handmaid's Tale. That's why they talk so freely and boldly and vociferously about the need for a dictator, of a ruler, of a king. This is white Christian nationalism. Before I move on, first of all, thank you to Right Wing Watch. They have a staff of people and probably a small staff, poring over hours and hours of this kind of degenerate material, disgusting material. If you have a couple dollars to throw their way as a donation to support their work, it is a great organization. There will be a link at the top of the description. It's rightwingwatch.org/Dollemore. None of that I get. I think it's just so how they can track where donations come from. So do me solid, do me proud, and donate to Right Wing Watch. Here's clip number 2, and trust me, it doesn't get any better.
God appoints some kind of ruler who is unapologetically Christian, and he comes in with a sword and says, I'm sorry, but lawlessness and wickedness will not be tolerated anymore. And he doesn't force conversions, just for the record, because that's another one of the objections that's just ill-founded. He doesn't go around forcing conversions, but instead what he does is he forces external morality. He doesn't force a change of heart. Only the gospel can do that. But what a king can do is he can say, whether you're regenerate or not, you're going to pretend. You're at least going to pretend to be Christian. They're not free thinkers. They're not courageous. They're not intelligent. They're men, and men must be governed. And if they must be governed, then our prayer as Christians is that they would be governed in the right direction, at least, for the good of the church.
Men must be governed, he says again. Governed by whom, Joel? Governed by men. And if men are all just degenerates, where, pray tell, sir, do we find this glorious individual to rule with an iron fist? Someone who is outside of the influence and the pressures of power. You see, this is why a constitution is critically important. This is why when people say, this is what should be happening to Donald Trump, I say, wait, because if we do that and we act out of the framework of the Constitution, then it will be an expectation for them to do the same thing. Because men cannot be trusted with power. Mankind has proven time and time again that we need some sort of rigid framework under which girds the population, the rule of law. We're too dumb to govern ourselves, must be governed by a Christian leader who will bring a sword to force not external morality, not conversion, but you're going to act like a Christian. That's good enough for him. Actually being a Christian, actually dedicating your life to the philosophies of Jesus Christ, which even Joel Webbon here has not done. No talk of charity, no talk of love, no talk of grace. Probably never read the book of Galatians in his life, yet claims to be some kind of a pastor. This is white Christian nationalism with the intent to set forth on this continent white supremacy run amok, unchecked, where his particular interpretation of his Bible rules you. If you're a gay Christian, tough luck. It's Joel who gets to set the agenda of who is a degenerate and who is not. Who gets equal justice under the law and who does not in his proposed monarchy, which I'm assuming would be led by a Donald Trump-like figure. White Christian nationalism. And if Donald Trump gets in office, it's only a step or two away from this. And I don't mean a step or two like a decade or two or a generation or two. I mean within months, certainly within the term of Donald Trump in a second term, these people will grasp power and never let go. They're already committed to the prospect of oppressing vote, suppressing vote in populations that are traditionally marginalized in this country. And listen to them when they say what they want. Listen to what they prescribe for America and believe them when they say it. This is dangerous. And we are only steps away from this becoming a reality in America. I would love your thoughts on this. You can comment below. What do you know about this Joel Webbon character? Call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. I'd love to hear from you. If you appreciate what I do, the message, the way that I deliver it, whatever, if you want to help me make these videos, please consider supporting the work. Click the join button below. For $2 a month, you can become a channel member on YouTube. You can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. $2 a month, help support the work. I would appreciate it. Follow me on social media. If you happen to share this video on social media, tag me. I'm at Dollemore everywhere. I'd love to see you there. Thank you. Take care of one another. Be genuine. Do the things. Incorporate that into your life. I talk about it every video, and I